So in organic chemistry, we used to nomenclate the organic compounds, है ना? Because entirely we are living in the universe of chemicals and elements. We inhale oxygen, we eat food so that we can get nutrients. And which nutrient we are taking? कैसे पता चलेगा हमें? By their name. That from green leafy vegetable we used to intake iron, which increase our hemoglobin, which increase our blood thickness, and so many things are there. Clear? So let's just understand कि भाई हम इस chapter में what we are going to study, what I am going to teach you. So first thing is I will teach you the basic nomenclature. Basic nomenclature मतलब I'll teach you the nomenclature of alkanes. Alkanes means like ethane, methane, है ना, etc. The basic nomenclature, that how I am naming, how I am assigning this name ethane to a compound on the basis of which rule, I will tell you later on when we go down to the chapter. Second, I will teach you about the complex substituent. Sorry. Or cycloalkanes. Cycloalkanes means and that time when we have cyclic compounds, है ना? अगर यही हम सीधा लिखें तो this will be a long chain. लेकिन अगर दोनों एंड एक साथ जुड़ गए तो this will be now a cyclic compound. Third, we will understand about the next alkenes, alkynes. Alkenes means where double bond are present. Alkynes means where triple bond is present. ठीक है? और cycloalkyl alkyne, जैसे कि for example, if I have this compound and double bond is present inside it, so this is a cyclo and double bond is present. That is why this is known as cycloalkene. Okay. Fourth thing we will learn about the functional group. I'm starting this thing from basics, from ABCD of organic chemistry. Clear? So listen very, very carefully and note down each and every point. I'm just thinking that you're not familiar with organic. I'm teaching you from the ABCD of organic chemistry. Okay. Functional groups are like alcohols, ketones, etc. Okay. Fifth one is means like these functional groups they can be any amide, cyanide, any. Next, I will tell you this polyfunctional group. Sometimes what happens in a long chain, we can have different types of functional group in a single chain. For example, OH is there. For example, CN is there. So at that time, when we have more than one functional group in a single compound, that is known as polyfunctional group. Poly means many, functional group means obviously functional groups. And last but not the least, we'll learn about aromatic compounds. Aromatic compounds means the compounds which have benzene ring. Sometimes this will be the main chain. कभी कभी ये main chain होगी. कैसे कि अगर मैं यहीं पर यहाँ मिथाइल जोड़ दिया या OH जोड़ दिया या पे क्लोरीन जोड़ दिया तो this will be a main chain. But sometimes it will be as substituent. Substituent means attached species. So at that time this is known as phenyl. When we'll go means on the topic, particular topic, I'll teach you this thing in detail. Okay. So on the basis of a proper system, a system which is made by the scientists and our CBSE, the nomenclature means the criteria is IUPAC. Can anyone tell me the full form of this IUPAC? Any one of you can tell me the full form of this IUPAC?
International Union of Practical and Applied Chemistry.
Yes, perfect. International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. I think you all are familiar with the organic chemistry. I mean, it means like nomenclature. आप लोगों ने 10th में भी किया होगा. Okay, but still I'm teaching you from the basics. Now, this IUPAC have divided the entire compound into three basic forms, which we used to consider. The first one is prefix. Second one is word root. But note these steps carefully, because if you don't know the criteria of nomenclature, you will not be able to nomenclate even a single compound. Okay. Suffix. So prefix, pre means the word which used in the starting, है ना, जो pre start करता है, ठीक है. Word root is the middle name and suffix is the end name, है ना. We used to like for example we used to write like हम अपना ही नाम लिखते हैं, so I used to like Miss Pooja Chaudhary, है ना. If I just add my husband's name after me, तो क्या होगा? First prefix is Pooja, my husband's name is will be the word form, and my Chaudhary will be my suffix. ठीक है. So when we do the nomenclature, तो हम specific बताने के लिए कैसे पता चलेगा that I am married? If I add my husband's name after my name, तो क्या हो जाएगा? The word root will be my husband's name, prefix will be mine, and this will be my surname. Okay. So this thing happened in such a way that this prefix is divided into two forms. Note this thing down. Primary, secondary suffix. Primary suffix we used to denote with 1 degree. Secondary suffix will be 2 degree. Example, primary suffix बहुत बहुत कम use होते हैं. Primary suffix will be used in only cyclic compounds, because we used to write like cyclohexane, cyclopentane. So cyclo will be the primary suffix. Clear? Or if we have two cyclic compounds, then bicyclo. These are the primary prefixes. Cyclo, very rarely used prefix. If we talk about secondary, so secondary, it means it tells us about the branch or substituent. And what do you mean by substituent? Substituent means attached species. आपके इस लॉन्ग चेन के अलावा यहाँ पर चाहे हेलोजन लगा हो, चाहे नॉर्मल CH3 भी लगा हो, मिथाइल ग्रुप, all are considered to be as branches or substituents. Clear? Let's just move to the word root. I'm just dividing this part into 3 sections. Word root. This word root, it includes the number of carbon in main chain. So for example, if you have 2 carbons in the main chain, so this will be eth. Yesterday I have told you this thing in the class. Meth, eth, prop, bute, pent, hex, hep, non, and dec. So on the basis of the number of carbon, you will assign name to the word root. Let's just move to another one, which is the suffix. Suffix is also divided into two parts, 1 degree and 2 degree. Primary suffix and secondary suffix. Clear? Primary suffix and the secondary suffix. Okay. Let's just start with primary suffix. In primary suffix, we used to mention the type of carbon-carbon bond. We used to mention the type of carbon-carbon bond. Kaise? If single bond, then ane. If double bond, then ene. If triple bond, then ine. So this carbon-carbon bond will decide the primary suffix, and the secondary suffix is decided by the functional group. It is decided by the functional group, whatever the functional group is there. For example, if I have alcohol, The functional group symbol is OH, है ना? You have studied, I think, for ethanol, methanol, OH. So this is alcohol, means alcohol, and if you have in substituent OH group, the suffix will be all. If you have ketone group, the suffix will be on. Okay. So when we'll go down to the chapter, when we'll go with the functional group, I will tell you in which we use prefix and in which functional group we use suffix. Is this clear? Take a screenshot, and even I ask you to note it down with me. Take a screenshot fast. Okay. Let's just move to the next, the main thing, that how we will do nomenclature. आप इंग्लिश में पढ़ते हो ना टेंसेस वगैरह, तो उसमें क्या बताते हैं, स्टेप वाइज बताते हैं कि भाई पहले वर्ड, फिर एडवर्ब, एडजेक्टिव, जो भी चीज आपने जोड़नी है, दैट विल बी इन द फॉर्म ऑफ प्लस 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 प्लस, है ना? इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज जब हम सीखते हैं, कोई भी लैंग्वेज व्हेनेवर वी आर लर्निंग, तो क्या उसमें क्या होगा, आपको स्टेप वाइज सिखाया जाता है. तो फर्स्ट वी विल कंसीडर अकॉर्डिंग टू IUPAC, फर्स्ट इज सब्स्टिट्यूएंट. First will be substituent plus then primary, like it will be primary prefix. So you can use cyclo, bicyclo in that. So first is, I'm just noting it down. First one will be the secondary prefix. Second one will be the primary prefix. Okay, 1 degree prefix P. P means prefix. Next is number of carbon in chain. This is what? This is word root. Okay. Next one is type of, I'm just writing here instead of there, type of carbon bond. That what type of bond is there? Either single, double, triple bonding, etc. Okay. So this will be primary suffix plus functional group. Okay. So functional group will be the secondary suffix. So what are the steps? First, we will give like preference to the substituent and use secondary prefix at that time. After that, we'll give if available, if this cyclo thing is available in chain, then we will consider, I'm just putting in bracket because every time it is not possible that ke cyclic compound ho sakta hai main chain ho. So at that time, if it is available, then you will give preference to the cyclic compound and primary prefix will be used. After that, count the number of carbon in the chain and it will be the word root. After that, give preference to the types of bond, number of bonds, whether it is single, double and triple. If single, alkane, if double, alkene, and if triple is alkyne. Okay. After that, at last we will give, and for this we will use primary is suffix, and at last we will give preference to the functional group and give preference to the secondary prefix, and we will use here only the secondary prefix. Clear? Okay, this will be the secondary suffix. Let's just start our topic with the first thing. I will teach you each and everything, each and every content. Let's just take this substituent and understand in detail. Substituents, that what can be your substituent? These substituents are known as branches. Branch is clear. So when we substituent the means branches, when we do nomenclature, so for the nomenclature, it is very important to write. It is very important to write their position. Position matlab that on which carbon the substituent is attached. So for example, I'm just giving you an example. For example, this is my chain, full chain compound, and if I substitute chlorine here, okay, so when we'll do nomenclature, so we will write 1 2 3 4 5 6 on which, on second position 2 chloro. So we will write the position. So it is important, very much important, note this thing down, to write the position when we talk about the branches. हमें कैसे पता चलेगा कि कौन से कार्बन पे branch है? We will came to know only by writing the position. Clear? Okay. So your substituent can be, for example, if your substituent is NO2, the name will be nitro. If you have, for example, halogens, halogens we used to mention with X. So any halogen will be there. So for example, if you have Cl, it will be chloro, fluoro. If you have iodine, so then it will be ido. If you have bromine as substituent is bromo, है ना? जब आपके halogens किसी से attached हो, this is the bond with which they are attached to the main chain. Okay. If you have, for example, this one, N with triple bonding O, sorry, not triple bonding, 1 2 3, double bonding, writing error. So N double bond O will be nitroso compound. Or apart of this, for example, if you have N3, so N3 actually it is known as azido, but for 12th class you must know this is known as azo. This N3 is known as azo. Or for example, if you have R means any alkyl group. Alkyl means, for example, if we talk about alkyl, so let me just take this part. If I have CH4, so when this is CH4, so this is methane. But if one hydrogen removes out and it will attach to the chain, so it will become CH3. Valency of carbon is satisfied. 1 2 3, 3 hydrogen plus with one bond it is attached with the main chain. So at that time this methane will become methyl. Clear? Let me take one more example. C2H5. C2H5. अगर ये C2H6 होता, so that will be ethane. But now since it is C2H5 and it is attached with a bond also, so this is ethyl. C3H8 hoga, so that will be propyl. But if you have C3H7 with a bond, so that will be propyl. So same thing happens when we'll go down. Methyl, ethyl, propyl, butyl, pentyl, hexyl, heptyl, decyl, nonyl and decyl. इतना ज्यादा तक नहीं जाते, प्रोपाइल तक ही जाता है, प्रोपाइल या पेंटाइल, हेक्साइल तक भी, इससे ज्यादा ऊपर नहीं जाते हैं वैसे. ठीक है. But in many cases, instead of this direct chain, if we have a proper stable chain, this is CH2, CH2, CH3. So this is known as N-propyl. Note this thing down because it is attached, means it attached directly to the main chain. It is attached directly to the main chain. So that is why this is known as N-propyl. But sometimes this chain is attached with the main chain like this from the central carbon atom. If this propane is attached with the first carbon atom, either this one or this one, so at that time this is known as N-propyl, directly attached to the main chain. But sometimes something happens that instead of joining or combining from these two carbon, it just combined from the central carbon. At that time, this is known as isopropyl. Note these things down fast. One, two, three, four. And if it is attacking with, means if it is attached to the main chain, I'm not writing hydrogen here. Sometimes what happen ना, to make the question short, वो सिर्फ कार्बन कार्बन लिख देंगे, और ये कॉमन सेंस है. अगर कार्बन सिंगल बॉन्ड से जुड़ा हुआ है और लॉन्ग चेन दिखा रहा है, it means that if it is attached with one bond, it means यहाँ 3 हाइड्रोजन हैं, 2 हैं तो यहाँ CH2, यहाँ भी CH2, यहाँ भी CH2. Clear? This common sense. So note this thing down. So at that time, this will be known as N-butyl. N-butyl. Okay. Sometimes what happened, your alkyl group is attached with the oxygen, then with the main chain. At that time, this is known as alkoxy. This is known as alkoxy. For example, let me just give you example also. OCH3. So this will be known as first alkane name, then oxy. So methoxy. Clear? Methoxy. If OC2H5 is there, so first the main compound name, 2 carbon means eth, oxygen means oxy. So that will be ethoxy. Is this clear? So let me take 2 minutes and start. Let's just continue with word root. If you have 1 carbon in word root, for example, this CH3. So if you have 1 carbon in word root, 1 carbon की बात करें, so that will be methane. Because single bond, I'm just writing in short. If you have 2 carbons, so that will be eth. 3 carbons, prop. 4 carbon, bute. 5 carbons, pent. 6 carbons, hex. 7 carbons, hept. 8 carbons, oct. 9 carbons, non, and 10 carbons, dec. आगे भी है, but up to 12, this is sufficient for you. Okay? This is for word root, because in word root we used to consider only number of carbon atoms present. So on the basis of these names, we used to name them. So for example, if you have CH4, so that will be methane. C2H5, that will be eth. If you have C3, then that will be prop. If you have C4, so it means that total carbons, है ना? For example, if I'm writing the propane. So 1, 2, 3. 3 carbons means prop. I'm just talking about the long chain. 1, 2, 3, and 4. It will be bute. So in this way we used to write our chains. Okay.